Good morning, everyone. I hope you were able to stay safe this weekend. I know it's been a very unusual year for us, but the good news is we are in June. It's June 1st, 2020, and that means we're getting close to summer vacation. So this week will be the last week of our normal learning activities, and next week we'll slow it down. It'll just be some simple end of year assignments. So hang tight. This week in the afternoons, we're going to be focusing more on measurement. We got to most our units while we were at school, but this is one we didn't get to spend a lot of time on. For some of you, it will be review, but I will give a few chances where you can challenge yourself. And for others, it'll be a little newer and maybe more challenging. So let's get started. First, let's talk about what measurement is. So there are many ways to measure an object. We don't have time to go through all of them, but these are the basic ways. First, there's length, where you measure how long an object is. Right here, they're measuring how long a pencil is. You can measure height, right? That's how tall an object is, which you can also do with a ruler or measuring tape. This is called a tape measure. You can also measure capacity, which is how much an object can hold. So that's usually when you're measuring liquid, like this measuring cup you could use to measure water or milk. And then we have weight, right? That's how much an object weighs. Usually you would use a scale. And those are the main ways. We are just going to be working on measuring length and height. So for that, we will need a ruler. Now you might not have a ruler, so let me tell you a few things you could use. If you have a ruler, great. It's important to know all rulers are a little different. This one just has inches, and they're split up into eighths, right? Between 0 and 8, there are 8 sections here. So it's divided into eighths. This is Ezra's toy tape measure. It also just has inches. And do you see how many sections are between 1 and 2? There's 4 sections. So this one is cut into fourths. This is a tape measure. You might have one of these in a toolbox at home. Just a minute. Sorry. So this is my tape measure. And there's inches on top, so it goes from 1 to 2. If you look on the top, it is divided into many sections, but the main ones are below. It actually gives the fraction for each section, which is great. That's what we're going to be working on this week. So if you do not have a ruler or a tape measure, or even measuring tape, people use these for sewing a lot, you can go to the website printablерulers.net. Now this only works if you have a printer. If you don't have a printer, and you don't have anything else, let me know, but you'll be able to do most of the activities today. So if you go to printable-rulers.net, you have a few options. There's a large print ruler, which is the one I had printed. It's just inches and they're divided into eighths, which is pretty good. I do recommend printing the one that includes centimeters though, because we're going to need centimeters later on this week. So you just press download. It says it's downloading. Oh, and here it popped up on my screen. So it looks like this. It has inches on top and then centimeters on the bottom. Centimeters are smaller than inches. You can see about 2.5 centimeters makes an inch. So go ahead, find a ruler, and we'll get started. Okay, hopefully you have a ruler. If not, like I said, it's okay. You can do most of the activities with me, but just send me a message so I can give you something else instead of the last activity for today. So we're going to start by talking about halves. So a whole inch would be 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, and so on. A half inch would be right in the middle. I'm going to highlight on this to show you where the half inches are. If you have a paper ruler, you can go either highlight the half inches or use a crayon to color them so they pop out a little bit more. So it would look like this. Now you can really see where the middle line is between each inch. So before we measure some things to the half inch, we need to practice and review how to count by halves. So we'll be doing this in our journal. And I need you to open up to a new page. You'll title it Measurement and put the date in the corner. So measurement is MEASUREMENT. And the date starts with a 6 now because we are in the month of June. June is the 6th month of the year. So 6/1/20. Go ahead and pause if you need more time. Okay. And we are going to be counting by halves. So you can go ahead and write that, counting by halves. Again, pause so you have time to write this, and I'll be moving on. Okay. All right, let's take a look at what counting by halves looks like, and then we'll write it down. So I have this cool app here. Hopefully you can see it. There we go. So I have a lot of circles. They are cut into 2 pieces, right? We call that halves. I will write that down, halves. HALV E. It's hard to write with this. Okay, halves. So if I just color 1/2, we would write it as 1/2. Okay. If I color another one, what do we have? Well, you could say 2/2, or you might notice the whole circle is colored. So we could also say one whole. So we have 1/2, then 1 whole. Most people would say 1 whole instead of 2/2. That's called simplest form. So we're going to be writing in simplest form. Okay, let's add another half. So you could say we have 3/2, or you could say that we have 1 1/2. And you can write these in your journal under counting by halves. So we have 1/2, 1, 1 1/2, and then we'll keep adding to that. So just copy what I'm doing on the other screen. Right. If I color another half, we now have 4/2, or we can say 2 wholes. Okay, 5/2, or 2 1/2. I'm gonna do one more. So let's see, that's 1 2 3 4 5 6 halves. How many holes is that? Yeah, that's 3 whole circles. So I want you in your journal to keep continuing that pattern. Count all the way to 20, counting by halves. So I'm only up to 1 1/2. I'm going to continue on until I get to 20. Takes a while. Okay, go ahead and pause if you need more time. And then you can check your work. So pause, I'm moving on in 3, 2, 1. So if you need to check your work for counting by halves, you can pause the screen. Otherwise, we're going to move on. Oh, moving on in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we're going to play a little game now to review measuring up to the half point. So the website I have is, let's see, rulergame.net. And we're gonna play this first one, the new inch ruler game. And I have already fixed the settings so the timer is off. And then I want to go to halves. All right, so timer off. I have the questions and precision set to halves, which means we're ready to play. So you can help me out here. Say the answer if you know it. I actually can't really say this, huh? How about you read the fraction for me? Right here. Right, that's 1/2. So it goes here. 3, or 3 inches. That's what the 2 lines mean. It means inches. 3 inches. 4 inches. 1 inch. 2 inches. How would you say this one? 1.5 inches. 3.5 inches. 2.5 inches. 4 inches. 1.5 inches. Good. I also want to show you, because rulers usually aren't just marked to the half. Usually they will have more lines. So I'm going to set the ruler marks to quarters, but we're still going to answer to the halves. So do you see how now there's more lines here? Each inch is split up into fourths or quarters. Remember, quarters is another way to say fourths. We're still only measuring to the half. So we're not going to go to any of the other lines except the whole inches and the half inches. We're going to ignore the other ones. So we have 4 inches, 1/2 inch. So I'm not going to here. I have to go to the middle between 0 and 1. 2 inches. 1/2 inch again. 3 inches. 1 inch. 2 inches. 3.5 inches. All right. Hopefully you got the point. You'll have a chance to practice this on your own soon. First, though, I want to go over counting by quarters. So again, in your journal, we're going to write counting by quarters instead of counting by halves. Counting by quarters, which is just counting by fourths of an inch. This one's a little trickier, so you'll have to pay close attention. Go Go ahead and pause if you need more time. I'm moving on in 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen again. This time I have circles that are split into fourths, right? There's 4 pieces in each circle. We also call these quarters, right? They're split into quarters. An easy way to remember that is there are 4 quarters in a dollar. Right? So if something is split into quarters, it's split into 4 pieces. Okay, so I'm only going to color 1 piece at a time, and you can write down the fractions as we go. If I just have 1 out of 4 colored, that would be 1/4. So you can write 1/4. I want you to wait before writing anything else though, because this is where it gets tricky. And I'm going to do this on a different circle so you can really see. I'm going to color 2/4 now. And you could write 2/4, but we're going to do it in simplest form. So can you think of another way to describe the shaded part of the circle? Right, it's cut into half, right? Half of it is shaded in. So even though 2/4 are shaded, you could also say 1/2 of the circle is shaded. And that would actually be the simplest form. So instead of 2/4, you will write 1/2. They're the same. They're equivalent, right? 2/4 is equal to 1/2. They're the same size. And I can show you with another circle. And you can see the same amount is shaded. 2/4 equals 1/2. Okay, let's move on to the next one. I'll use green. So this time we'll put in 3/4, which we can write 3/4. And then we'll do 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not going to write 4/4 though. What's another way we could describe this circle? How much is shaded in? Well, hopefully you're noticing that the whole shape is filled in. It's one whole. So far in your journal, you should have 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 1, or 1 whole. Okay. Now, for the next one, I'm actually going to clear this page so I have more room. So pause if you need more time. I'm going to erase in 3, 2, 1. Clear my work. Okay. So we're still splitting up into fourths. Okay, so we'd already filled in 4/4. That made a hole. This time I'm gonna fill in 5/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So how would we write this fraction? Well, we have 1 whole plus 1/4. So you would write 1, 1, and 1/4. While you're writing that, I'll make some more circles for the next one. Okay, so let's see. Last time we filled in 5/4. This time we'll fill in 6/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're not going to write 6/4, though. I want to write it as a mixed number. So we have 1 whole circle, and then what's left over here? Okay, you may be thinking 2/4, but what's another way we could describe how much of this circle is shaded in? It's going right down the middle, right? And 1/2 is shaded, 1/2 is not. So instead of 1 2/4, I'm writing 1 1/2. Okay. Gonna erase. We'll do a couple more and then I'll have you try some on your own. So let's see, that was 1 1/2. I'm gonna erase now in 3, 2, 1. Okay. So last time we had filled in 6/4. Let's go ahead and fill in 7/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. How do you think we would write this fraction? We'll be doing it as a mixed number, so not a 7/4. We would have 1 whole plus, what's left over here? 3/4. Oops. So we would read this as 1 3/4. Okay, I'm gonna do one more with you. 2 more circles, each cut into 4 parts. And this time we'll fill in 8/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you should see we've got 2 full circles. Okay, I want you to continue on all the way to 8. So you're counting by fourths. Remember, you're going to follow the pattern 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, then your whole. So after 2 would be 2 1/4, 2 1/2, 2 3/4, 3, and so on. Okay? Because remember, I'm going to clear this. 1/2 equals 2/4, or 2/4 equals 1/2. I'll put that in here for you. Oh, whoops. Well, this would be 1. Oh my gosh. Guys, just a minute, Lovey. Okay, sorry. Hopefully you're writing your fourths. If you need help though, let me just show you this quickly. So you have a little picture to look at as you go. So, So 1/4. The next one is written as 1/2. This is where people get confused. So you're not writing 2/4, you're writing 1/2. Just a minute, Ezra. And then 3/4. And then the whole number. Go ahead and pause. You have to get all the way to 8, counting by quarters. I'll be moving on in 3, 2, 1. If you need to check your work, you can. Again, it's a lot of numbers there, a lot of fractions. And mixed numbers and whole numbers. Pause if you need more time to check. Okay. So for the last part of today, okay, so you will be going to rulergame.net. I'll have the link in the lesson plan. And again, let me show you. You're going to click on the new inch ruler game. Then for settings, I recommend turning the timer off. Otherwise, it gets a little bit stressful. For the questions, start with halves. Or if you are ready to try quarters, go on to quarters. Okay, I want you to have the ruler marks in quarters. So the timer should be off. The questions can be quarters or halves. It's up to you. You can try both. Quarters will be more challenging. And then have the ruler marks to quarters. Now, some of you, this might be really easy. You can try eighths or even 16ths for a challenge. All right? So I want you to go ahead and play with this. And then I will also add a few more links for some other measurement games if you're interested. Once you feel you really have halves and quarters down, you're good, then I want you to take a picture of your journal with all these numbers and just upload it under measurement journal. And before I go, I'm gonna play with quarters since I didn't show you that earlier. And you are welcome to watch, or you can just stop the video and go ahead and play on your own. All right. So this would be read as 3 3/4. So 3, I'm gonna go all the way to 3. Uh-oh. What happened? Okay. I'm gonna go to 1 1/4 now. So 1 plus 1/4. 3 3/4. This can also be read as 3 3/4. Remember, they are the same. So 3 3/4 of an inch. I go to 3, then 1 2 3/4. 1 1/2 inch. I start at 1, and then I have to go all the way to the middle line. That's the 1/2 inch line. If I only went here, that would be 1/4 or 1/4. 2 inches. 1 inch. 1/2 inch. Okay. So hopefully you feel confident to try this on your own. And I'm gonna go ahead and say goodbye. I got my friends here. You wanna say goodbye? Say bye. Have a good day.